Hi, we're back. It's episode 3 of the Heroic Dose podcast.
Yeah.
Hell to the motherfucking yeah. Tonight's episode is a very exciting one. Super pumped to talk about the band in question, which I shall soon reveal to you people out there. Very, very cool, very exciting stuff. Without further ado, let's get into it. Let's do it. The band that I will be talking about today is called Ajattara. Ajattara. It's a 5-piece dark metal band from Helsinki, Finland. Dark metal, bro. Finland, you know. Cold as fuck, so you have nothing else to do but make heavy music.
Exactly. Just practice guitar and practice those blast beats.
Yeah, exactly. They were formed by Pasi Koskinen. Quite interesting name. Pasi.
Okay.
Yes. Interesting names indeed. Obviously, it's a Finnish band, so all their lyrics are in Finnish, so do not expect to understand any of the lyrics when listening to this album. Take it in for what it is. I'll get into it later as to why it is so brilliant, actually, that it is in Finnish.
Yeah.
Exceptional. But we'll get to that later. They formed in 1996, same age as Slipknot and myself. Very cool, quite a while ago.
Yeah.
Split up in 2012, and then reformed in 2016. So quite recently, came back, started making new music. They were signed by Spinefarm Records and have released 8 albums, their most recent being La Pause.
Spinefarm Records.
Spinefarm, yes.
That's a good line.
You want to know that the music you're going to be producing and the label that you're signing really contributes to your image. So
Yeah.
if spine farming is your thing, then that's the record label for you, ladies and gentlemen. Their most recent album was released in May 2017. Their genres include dark folk, death metal, black and death metal, and dark metal. For those who heard the first one, yes, dark folk. Dark folk music, which is especially important for the album.
That is probably the most interesting thing about this album.
Yes.
It's an album that you introduced to me, so I know it quite well as well.
Yes.
You know it better.
Yes.
Tell us about this interesting genre that they created here.
Oh boy, do I have a lot to say. So in 2009, Ajattara released their 6th studio album. So quite also an album that has been on the go. It's had its years to slowly evolve, and it's not an album I'd say that is very easy to listen to. Especially
if you're a newcomer to like dark metal, black metal, death metal in general.
Yes.
If you're a newcomer to those genres, it's probably quite weird.
Yeah, you're gonna be freaked out a little. You're gonna struggle to sleep. I'm gonna tell you that. Okay, the album is titled Noituma.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get real Finnish now because they use a very like throaty talking style. There's a lot of uhs and quas. Gotta use it all there. So I'm gonna try my best. This time, okay. The thing that makes this album interesting is that their previous music has all been this very grimy death metal, black metal. They used synthesizers, which is pretty interesting considering the genre that they've already been playing in. But the thing that makes this album really stand out is the fact that it is, of course, an all-acoustic album.
Yes.
So, an acoustic black metal album.
Yeah, I think people really need to understand. It's like the instrumentals are all purely acoustic.
Yes.
Throughout the whole album.
Yes, exactly.
And the vocals are completely
harsh
black metal style.
Yes, exactly. It is something to behold. So very contrasting sounds. You have the harshness of the vocals, and you have the tribal cleanliness almost, but to an extent very dirty sounding all acoustic instrumental ensemble playing, which is it's fucking mind blowing to say the least.
Yeah, the word tribal is pretty good explanation or kind of what to expect.
Yes, very much so. Ajattara combined elements of black metal to produce a style of black metal, not dissimilar to, I don't know if you're familiar with the band Celtic Frost.
Not so much.
Also quite a very famous black metal.
More old school.
Yeah, but very old
Kind of
school.
pioneers.
Yes, I definitely say so. And then to a lesser extent, Samael, which is also black metal, more newer black metal group. Actually, I correct myself. I actually think it's just one person, if I remember correctly. But anyway, the command use of synthesizers, heavy guitars, gives Ajattara, as I mentioned, this very grimy sound when they're playing. And the lyrical themes, especially with this album, it's not, you don't a fucking rocket scientist to figure this shit out, but it's death, evil, and paganism.
I'm assuming you Googled the lyrics.
I did,
Because
yes.
Obviously everything is in Finnish. Every single word of the album is in Finnish.
I did, yes. And about 80% of it is, as I said, death, evil, and paganism. And the rest of it is ambient noise that just fills it and drives it forward. It's truly a fascinating album, this. On this album Noituma, which is a word that I have honestly not really found a proper definition for.
So you've looked it up?
I have, yes. Yeah. I've done translation stuff. It's more phrases, differing phrases than a solid one-word definition. So whatever it may be, and I think that's what makes this album also so special, is that even the album name does not really have a definition. And what they're doing at that stage was extremely new. You couldn't really define what it was. So I feel like even the whole, how could I put it, undetermined name that is the album contributes to the unlabeled genre that their music was at that stage. So maybe getting real meta.
Do you have any idea like what it is kind of referring to?
It basically refers to, how can I put this down? It's like worshipping the devil, but not.
I'm glad I asked this question now.
But I wouldn't say it's necessarily like, how could I put it, slaughtering many animals and killing people. It brings the feel of it, with the sound of the album. You definitely get that. Here and there in some of the lyrics, they do obviously reference, there's a song I'll get to later where they do reference satanic practices, mostly for show. I don't think they're true cult followers. They're more utilizing the image of evil.
There are very few metal bands are actually satanic.
100% dedicated. Exactly. So I'm quickly just going to mention the highlight tracks that really stood out for me. The first track, Koi Kusi. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Finnish people, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry that I'm probably butchering this name.
You probably just said something very offensive.
I probably just...
Years from now, some Finnish person is going to listen to it and be like, this guy needs to be cancelled.
We gotta cancel the crap out of the Heroic Dose podcast because he called my mother a kosi. Not acceptable here in Finland, bro. But it's the first track, and the way it starts already lets you know that this is gonna be a ritualistic experience. You're gonna gather your dirt and sticks and rocks in your glass jars and prepare for the blood moon when you listen to this fucking album.
Possibly do some drugs in a forest.
Yes, oh, don't even get me started.
Go find the witches.
Yes, exactly. The way the song starts, it's this grimy, muddy, emulsifying sound of, how could I describe it? If you poured water into mud and you squished it with your hands, it's this really dirty sound. Immediately followed up by these extremely harsh black metal style vocals and eerie, jangly, low-tuned acoustic guitar playing at a very low tempo with these vocals not necessarily even giving lyrics, more of creating an ambient, evil, dark sound. I try and replicate it, but I'm really scared like some demon might pop out of a wall
The guy does have his voice. It invokes a real uneasy feeling.
Yes,
he has a very
exactly.
unique, distinct, evil voice.
Yes, exactly. He's practiced sucking Satan's cock. You know, that's where he got the talent, probably, worshipping the devil and making great metal music.
Mm.
The second track, called Savin Sarnatu, is just one of my personal favorites. It still follows the weird, very jangly, almost out of tune acoustic guitars with the bass, didgeridoo. Of course, I mean, they utilize so many various instruments, creating a truly wide variety of sounds that they incorporate into the album.
They even have like very weird percussion going on. Like it's not your traditional.
Yes, exactly. Rumors that I've heard is that the percussion that they used was not a conventional drum kit or even drum pads, but that the drummer walked around in Finland in industrial areas and gathered pieces of wood and buckets, pans, discarded pieces of metal, and used that. He created a drum kit out of that he used to record the album, making it as raw as possible, which really comes through when you listen to the album. It's a raw sound.
It's not normal percussion.
No,
not
definitely,
traditional sound.
definitely not. And then the last song that really stands out for me is Mitakualema Paranta. Whatever that may mean.
Yes.
Truly comes in. Once again, the reason I love this specific song is for the instrumentation.
Yeah.
You really get a good sense of the effort that they put in, utilizing all these different instruments, using a contrabass, as I said, a didgeridoo, the weird drum kit, the low tune acoustic guitars that are almost jangly and out of tune. It really creates a sense of uneasiness when listening to it. But the execution at the end of the day, smooth, so smooth. By all accounts, the sheer ballsiness of the effort, combined with the compelling and hypnotic, as in starting a bonfire in the middle of a forest while doing an unbeknownst amount of mushrooms, really brings in the composition, the structures, and the elements of this acoustic album that truly almost make metal. Metal. They show the things that make metal metal. It's almost a perfect amalgam of everything that truly makes metal weird and heavy and sometimes uneasy, which I feel is what you'd want. You want something out there, and they truly do bring it. The things that you would usually use to describe campy or jangly folk, perhaps even indie folk jams, are used in this album. So using lighter instrumentation with heavy vocals, it shattered my mind. I mean, it's been 4 years since I've listened to this album. In 2015, I discovered it for the first time, thanks to a friend as well, someone who referenced it and told me to go and listen to it. It's been 4 years, and there are many, many albums that I would not go back to, or that I very, very occasionally listen and still get hyped up about. And every single fucking time I listen to this album, I want to dance naked, covered in some animal skin, going crazy under the full moon. It's just like, it invokes a true sense of ritualistic worship when I listen to this album. It is,
I gotta say,
ridiculous.
like, you introduced me to this album about, let's say, like a year and a half, 2 years ago,
almost
maybe.
2 years,
And I've had a similar experience. Like, it's the first time you told me about it, and you mentioned this concept that they're using in the album. I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about?
Acoustic black metal.
There's like sheep sounds in it, which there are sheep sounds in this album. And it's all this weird shit, and I was like, sounds interesting. So I want to hear this. You played me a song or two. I went and listened to it after that on my own, and I've been hooked. Like it's if you think it's weird, it's weird in the best possible way. You have to go listen to it. It's so good.
It's energetic almost to listen to it. It's a very significant album, I feel, because I feel that almost unbeknownst to the band, they had welded shut a gap in metal genres that was not known to the public or to them at that stage.
Yeah.
They created something totally new. Yeah, there may have been bands previously that followed a similar path in terms of creating an acoustic heavy album. But in terms of the success and nailing it on the head, Ajattara just hit it out of the park for me. They truly redefined what can be done with metal. It doesn't have to be low-tuned electric guitars and blast beats going all over the place with the harsh vocals. You can strip it down to its rawest form, utilizing acoustic instruments with the heavy vocals and still make it sound super heavy at the end of the day.
Yeah, this is one of the, like I've used the word evil previously. It is one of the evilest, heaviest albums I've heard, despite the acoustic instrumentation.
Yes, exactly. It's a joy to listen to. Evil, unsettling, heavy and raw. What more do you want?
It's catchy as well.
It is. It's super catchy. Like, I find myself singing along the words or the lyrics that I recognize. And I just want to, as I said, I just want to dance to it. I just want to move when I'm listening to it. I'm going to get my evil on tonight. Get my cloak ready, grab my black candles. It's going to be a great evening. So I just want to finish off by saying that if you are a musical adventurer, such as we are, we truly do try, most of the time at least, to rediscover and discover new music, interesting music, stuff that really piques our interest, that really brings out the best and sometimes the worst.
Yeah.
But something that truly takes our attention and just like fucking throws it out of the way, because this is truly what this album has done. It has shown me what can be done, and they've shown me that this is something that has never been done, and it should be kept on doing. The people should just keep on doing this, utilizing this, make it more interesting. You have so many acoustic instruments that can be utilized to make heavy songs without the conventional setup.
Grandpa's guitars.
Use a fucking banjo or a lute to play some heavy fucking music. So if you are truly a musical adventurer and on the lookout for new and unique albums, or unique albums at least, or just like left field music, if I could put it like that, in general, then you definitely have to go and listen to this album. I just highly recommend this.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be you listening to an album. You're gonna be experiencing the music. It's true.
I second that. I mean, that's what this is all about.
Yes, exactly.
Kind of weird, wonderful stuff.
Yeah, exactly. The weird and wonderful creations of the bands that we love.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all from my side. So if you have enjoyed this, I'm very glad. I trust you have.
Yeah, I hope someone actually gets introduced to this.
Please.
And is like, I wish I knew this existed earlier, because I wish I knew it existed earlier.
Same, considering that I only started listening to it, in 2015, it came out in 2009?
Yeah.
I felt so out of date when I realized that. So you're not too late. There is still time.
Yeah.
Go and listen to the album. It is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And then JP.
Well, I'm indulging a little bit today as well.
Okay.
Also for weirder, more... It's not as underground as your album, but it is a bit more obscure. Also very difficult to listen to.
Okay.
The band I'm talking about is Godspeed You Black Emperor.
Okay.
Or it's rather like Godspeed You Black Emperor, because they use punctuation in their name. Which is abnormal. It's kind of like, I don't know if you ever watched that series, Angry Boys.
No.
There's a character in there called S. Mouse, I think. If I remember. I watched that long ago, but it's like the new shit is putting punctuation in your name. But anyway, They did that. So yeah, Godspeed You Black Emperor. The album specifically I want to discuss is Lift Your Skinny Fists Like Antennas to Heaven.
Is that the album name?
That is the album name.
That is
so
glorious.
You gotta know, we're getting into something here.
That is spectacular.
Yeah, they're a Canadian band.
Okay.
Like French Canadian from Quebec.
Oh, oui.
Rest of some real classy blokes over here, you know what I'd say.
I do like this French music.
Yeah, also quite an old band.
Oh,
they were
okay.
formed in 1994, originally.
Wow, okay, yeah. That's...
But they did also have like a long kind of hiatus from releasing some of their first work.
Yes.
Went under for a long time, came back much later in the 2010s.
Oh, okay.
So they've been around for long, in and out of the scene.
In and out, yeah.
They've never really been like a huge household name, obviously.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, they were formed in 1994 by they're a big setup, instrumental band, completely instrumental band.
Okay.
They are led by a guy called Ephraim Manook.
Wow.
We're
both doing some interesting names tonight.
Yeah, I hope I pronounced that correctly. So that must be some French Canadian thing. Ephraim Manook. Ephraim, if you ever listen to this, which I'm sure you will, and I didn't pronounce your name correctly, please forgive me.
Please don't send us baguettes saying that it's okay.
Yeah, but anyway. Baguettes. Anyway, they started off as like a 3-piece setup.
Okay.
Back then, 1994.
Yeah.
Started off there was a bunch of guys who wanted to make some instrumental music.
Yeah.
And the band kind of grew from there. They like did live shows and did well. People enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And soon like they started like that vibe of like just a band that jams like that.
Yes.
People started joining.
Okay.
The band grew. People
Yes.
came in and out.
Okay.
There was never really any structure.
Yeah, yeah.
And they kind of released their first album in that way.
Okay.
But their first album is not the one I'm talking about. This was in the late 90s.
Okay.
And then they kind of settled into this 9-piece setup.
So they went from 3 people to Slipknot.
Yeah. So they came to that 9-piece, and this included 3 guitarists. Well, 3 guitarist multi-instrumentalist people.
Yes.
So the guitarist might also play keyboard where it's applicable.
Oh, okay.
You know,
So
everyone would
they're
do
not
their part,
stuck
yeah.
in a certain role. Okay.
2 bassists.
Nice. Same like multi-instrumentalist
Yeah.
setup. Okay.
2 drummers / percussionists.
Okay. Okay.
So got all that going.
Yeah.
A violinist and a cellist.
Nice. I do love
So,
me some strings.
They do bring in the strings.
Very
as
cool.
a big part of their sound.
Yes. Yes.
So
And I feel strings inherently contribute to a big sound when you're making
definitely.
music, regardless almost of what kind of music you're making. Having a string section, it's like it really enlarges the music. Yeah, very cool.
So one thing I wanted to mention is it's obviously a weird name.
Yeah.
Godspeed You Black Emperor.
Indeed.
The band they're like film lovers.
Okay.
The band name actually came from kind of a very obscure 70s Japanese film,
Okay.
which was just this obscure Japanese documentary about a Japanese biker gang. They were the Black Emperors. So the film's title was Godspeed You Black Emperors. And I think the mistranslation also contributed to that
Yeah.
weird way of saying it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like an English person wouldn't name their movie Godspeed You.
Black Emperor. No.
Yeah?
Godspeed you, Black Emperor.
Yeah. Like they're film lovers, and that shows in their live shows. I went and checked this out myself on YouTube. They do incorporate film into their live shows.
Oh, so it's a very
Through-
cinematic experience. Okay.
Like they have a guy doing projections for them.
Nice.
Their background,
Yeah.
while they're performing, is these projections.
Okay.
And so it's these 9 people just jamming.
With the music video,
Visual
basically.
show and everything. Very cool. But anyway, we should get to the album.
Yes.
Lift your skinny fists like antennas to heaven, you know. Like I mentioned, it's an instrumental album.
Yes.
It could probably fall under the kind of post-rock genre.
Okay.
Which, for those not familiar with post-rock, it's all kind of instrumental.
Yeah,
It's-
very instrumental.
Yeah, it's some other notable bands in that genre. It would probably be like, what's that band? God is an Astronaut is a pretty famous-ish one. Not really famous in
Yeah,
general
in the conventional
terms,
sense, yes.
Mogwai is another one. If you're interested in checking out kind of post-rock, instrumental rock
It's
music.
very nice type of music, especially for if you want to use it for background noise.
Yeah,
if I
good
could put it
background
like
noise.
that.
Like the whole thing about that genre was, you know, post-rock implies it's post
Yes.
some other movement.
Yes,
And
exactly.
this movement came from they stripped away the front man. They stripped
Yeah.
away the flashiness. They stripped away the catchy riffs.
Yeah, basically the whole conventional setup
Yeah,
of
this-
what makes a band.
And they made it much more centered around ambience and building textures.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, interesting.
If I could get really pretentious, I'd
Please
say
do.
creating soundscapes.
Oh,
yes,
God.
I went there.
Soundscapes. I love it.
Yeah, so Godspeed You Black Emperor are masters of this kind of what I mentioned here, building textures, where they would take their fundamental sound. It goes around this concept of taking a riff, starting it in an ambient way,
Yes.
starting it slowly. Chilling out. Maybe the guitar is playing something.
Yeah.
Then
Like-
the violinist would come in.
Slowly
Yeah.
is awakening your
The strings are
attention.
coming in.
Yes.
The bassist is coming in. Subtle percussion. They're building. It's evolving.
Focusing on the dynamics.
It's this one theme, but then something interesting is coming in here. Something interesting is coming in here, and it gets
Oh.
bigger and bigger. And the sound builds and builds.
So it builds
Yeah,
and builds.
and then it builds to the point where it's just like everyone's jamming. And
Nice.
it's good, and now you're at the catchy part. So like the first 5 minutes is setting up the song. The 2 minutes after that is the actual catchy part of the song, where
Yes.
everyone is jamming a riff.
Yes.
Then it just explodes into this drone
Oh.
of noise.
Okay.
Okay, so we basically have 3 genres here in one song. It's
Nice.
ambient, it's rock, it's noise,
Yes.
all in one. And
Wow.
they build to this thing, and then they get to the climax. And they know how to build a climax. Like the climax, when you think the climax is going to be the climax, it's not the climax.
Yeah, but see, those are the base climaxes. You know what I'm saying?
And then they bring it back,
Nice.
and they chill it out again.
So they take you on this roller coaster ride
Yeah.
of starting at the bottom. Now we're here,
Yeah.
and then they're at the top, and they know that we can't sustain this for
Yeah, they take it as
however
far
long.
as they can.
Yes, and then
And they can take it very far, which is why this album is a particularly influential album in the post-rock scene, because they were like masters of that.
Yeah,
And so this is like a critically acclaimed album, I would say.
nice.
So amongst people who enjoy instrumental music,
Yes.
which is obviously not that many people. One thing I would mention, this is not, I use the words critically acclaimed, but it's also not super accessible.
Yeah.
The album basically consists of 4 songs.
Yeah, you mentioned.
The run time is about an hour and a half. So each song is 20 minutes or more,
around there.
basically.
Yeah.
That's why I've never really successfully gotten someone into this album, I must say.
Yeah.
It's hard to be like, to play someone, listen to this 20-minute instrumental
Yeah.
track.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck?
You're
And
having
I'm
like a braai or something at your house.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna play some of that 40-minute prog instrumental, yo.
Yeah. 7 minutes into the song, someone always asks, like, what are we listening to? Is this one song?
Yeah.
When is the catchy part starting? And then I'm
exactly.
like, bro, we're not even at the third act of the second song yet. You can't expect shit to be happening right now. But anyway.
There's a plot that we need to follow with this album.
Yeah, but they do literally, with the album, the physical copy of the album,
yes,
they include a chart of the movements, because the songs are obviously split into movements.
Yes.
So a 20-minute song would be split into like 5 movements.
Yes, exactly.
And they actually chart it out.
Oh.
Like a hand-drawn, that's something I found very cool.
Wow, so really adding like a
hand-drawn
touch.
We might be able to put it up if we have some technological wizardry going soon. This will be confirmed later, but anyway, that'd be something cool to put up.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, they show all the movements and how it kind of goes up and down.
Yeah.
In terms of, so they are also very proud of how they create. It's almost like they see themselves as like a tiny orchestra.
Yes, yeah.
You know?
It totally makes sense.
So yeah, it's all these movements, 4 songs. So yeah, not many songs to talk about.
Yeah,
I'll just mention my very favorite song.
Yeah.
Which is the third song, which is called Sleep. It starts with something else they incorporate, which is these spoken word bits.
Okay.
It's more like samples. It's not like spoken word by a band member.
Oh,
it's not like something they wrote down. It's like
so they drew
samples.
some samples. Yeah.
So in this case, the kind of spoken word they brought in fits quite well with the whole theme of the album, because it's these almost incoherent, very weird, trippy people talking about this weird stuff. Like in another song, there's this woman talking about seeing God and stuff. And in this song in particular, Sleep, there's this old man who speaks about, he's like a New Yorker. He speaks about how when he was young, Coney Island was like the best place in the world to be, and how everything just went to shit.
Yeah,
basically. Something everyone can relate to. Like,
yeah. We've all,
especially us as South Africans,
everything's constantly going to shit.
Yeah, we're constantly talking about this. But now you hear this New Yorker talking about how when he was young, everything was so great, and now he's so sad because it's just not as good anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So the whole album has this theme of destruction, and it has a very apocalyptic feel.
Nice. So does the album start out very well and then just end horrendously?
They do kind of, like, the album starts very soft.
Yeah.
And pretty, and honestly the opening riff actually sounds a lot like Amazing Grace, the melody.
Oh, okay.
So it's like this
very airy and light,
and it builds up, and it's almost like the album is also split into 2 parts.
Yeah.
It's almost like the first part of the album is the world existing, and the second part of the album is like the world coming to an end.
Oh, okay.
So you could definitely pick up, like, to me this album felt like the apocalypse.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
The impending doom.
The impending doom.
Like, but it's in a very,
it's put in a
nice
very delightful manner.
But everything's like building up, and tension is building, and
it's like you're playing in your sunny yard with the atomic bomb that just went 500 miles away from you, and the imminent death that is the 500-degree shockwave is slowly approaching.
Yeah.
And in an hour and a half it will hit the crap out of you, and you will regret the decisions you made.
Yeah. So there's a lot of tension being built, and you can hear that. Like, they would build this song from the prettier parts, the catchier parts, up to the drones, and the strings become very tensiony.
Oh, nice.
So
they build like the anxiety.
And then you feel like, oh shit,
it's happening.
And there's obviously, like, everyone can interpret this album different ways. That's the beautiful thing about this instrumental album.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. none of what I'm saying is facts, because
Yeah.
there are no words. They're not guiding you. Like, they're not saying
Exactly.
This
You
is
don't
what the
have
album's
a-
about.
You don't have lyrical context from which you can create some theoretical, metaphysical anomaly that you think the band is trying to represent.
Yes.
So yeah, very interesting, very cool.
Yeah. So all in all, it's like an album that anyone can interpret in their own way. And for me, it definitely just, I've been listening to this album for years as well.
Yeah.
And it invokes, every time when I listen to it from beginning to end, it invokes some feeling within me. I don't
Yes.
always know what that is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be different things on different listens.
Yeah.
That's what I love about an album like this.
That's great.
It's
It's-
always,
because it's also, the album is quite lengthy, so it can take you through the emotions, during the listen. It's
so I
very
mean,
cool.
for me, I don't sit and just listen to this shit like sitting there listening to it.
Yeah, obviously
It's-
it'd be manic to do that.
It's something I do when I'm working or studying or doing chores,
Yeah.
playing games, whatever I'm doing. I'm not just like that. That would be my recommended way of listening to this.
Keep yourself
because,
busy.
Yeah, I find that for some reason people can be a bit. They don't want to listen to an instrumental album.
Yeah,
They think
yeah.
It's boring.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
You're doing something else while you listen to it.
Yeah.
I don't know how
you
most
have to
people listen to
focus
music.
on lyrics when you're
Yeah.
listening to it.
So I would definitely say, put it on as some background music.
Yeah.
One day, give it a chance. For me, it's been a great experience to listen to for the past like 5 years, probably
Yeah.
5 to 6 years.
Yes.
The album came out actually in 2000. That's something I forgot to mention. It's
Oh,
old. It's an old
It's
album,
old album, 20 years old. Wow.
but it's considered a classic in the instrumental post-rock world.
Yes.
And for me, it's an instrumental masterpiece.
Something that'll stick with you for quite some time.
Yeah, I'll always go back to it, always give it another listen at some point.
Yes, and as I said earlier, same with this band, Ajattara. I'll always go back to them, and I'll always appreciate, even if I'm like 50 something.
Yeah.
I'll still go back and be like, and back in my day, they made witchcraft music like they sure didn't today.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just love albums that they're timeless, if I can put it like that.
Yeah.
In our opinions, at least, timeless.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what makes it special. It doesn't have to be timeless for everybody, but it's special to us. It might not be for you, but I'm sure you'll find your albums as well. Those ones that really stand out, those ones that maybe make you feel extremely nostalgic, hopeful for the future. Who knows? This is why we're here. This is why we're talking about these things.
Yeah.
It's the albums that make us feel alive and special, almost. If I could put it like that. I don't want to get too all fucking soapy about this,
It's the
but
only thing that made me feel something today. It made me depressed as fuck. At least I was feeling something.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's amazing. Anything else you'd like to add or contribute?
I think that was my thing regarding instrumental music.
Okay.
Just had to put an instrumental one in there.
And there should certainly will be
yeah, I
more.
would definitely say don't write instrumental music off as like a legitimate something that can make you really take you on a journey.
Yeah, it can. It can
Yeah.
truly, if you really take the time to put in the listen, it'll take you on the journey. And that's where we'll end it for tonight.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you for enlightening us with the instrumentals. Truly great. And as always, you guys keep an ear out for us. This is going on YouTube. We're moving platforms around, bro.
Wow.
Gonna be on SoundCloud, YouTube. Who knows what's next? Maybe we'll even do Instagram. I don't know. But that was great. Thank you very much for watching and listening. As always, JP, thank you very much. And peace out, beaches.